So in this video, I want to talk about something that I've seen work very well for some people and something that holds a lot of people back. In trading, I find that the people who make the most money, they have high conviction. They've studied enough, they know their thesis inside and out, they bet big based on that thesis, and they see their thesis through. And oftentimes, when your thesis is right and you're betting big, you're gonna make a lot. This is how I made my first million. This is how I've created 40 plus millionaires from scratch. This is how a lot of my millionaire students now make 5-6 figures per day because they have the expertise, they have the conviction, and then the execution. Side note, click the link below if you want to join my challenge. This is where I create all my millionaires. But a lot of people, they don't get the conviction, so they're always afraid of betting big, or they bet big without the conviction, without the execution, and then you risk losing big. A lot of traders lose. Like, I don't know if you know industry stats, but 90% of traders lose. The big problem with the 90% is not that trading is so hard, it's that they're not prepared. They're betting based on their gut. They're listening to other people's stock picks. They're not putting in the time to really build a thesis themselves. They can't have conviction because they haven't put in the time to learn what true conviction means and what true research means. Just betting on somebody else's stock pick or asset pick or based on a gut instinct, that's not true conviction. That's gambling. The people that have made the most in trading that I see, my millionaire students and other millionaire traders, they put in so much time. They build a whole thesis. They build, a whole model, and they base their trading or investing around that model. And this is no different than a lot of crypto hodlers who are now getting paid off after holding and hodling for so long. They have a thesis. Some people might say that it's gambling, but Bitcoin has become the single best performing asset of the past decade. I personally don't do it because I have so many imposters and they all do it, and I also get so little sleep as it is. I'm not trying to participate in a 24/7 market. But I give props to those who do hodl and those who do have the conviction. It's amazing to see. It's risky, but it's amazing to see, especially like Kyle Williams, one of my millionaire students. He's over $5 million in profits now. He's up over 7 figures on his crypto position alone. Props to Kyle. Everyone leave a comment below. Congratulate Kyle. But this leads me to another problem, okay? Problem number one, just in case you didn't know, lack of preparation, lack of research, lack of ability to have a well thought out model. Problem number two is kind of diametrically opposite, where you have so much conviction, you have so much obsession with a specific position, you can't think otherwise. And it leads to narrow-mindedness, stubbornness, and oftentimes losses, where some people, even if they're right in their conviction, even if they're right in their hypothesis, because they're hodling for so long, they can't take profits. It goes against what they think. And when you can't take profits, it's not a trade anymore. Again, it becomes a gamble. So I want you to not gamble, meaning I want you to prepare so much that you have a thesis, you have a model, you have a plan. But then I want you to be able to stick to that plan, and whether you take a third profits, take half profits, take all profits, you recognize that a trade is a trade or an investment is an investment with an end goal. I don't want you gambling on random ideas, and I don't want you getting so obsessed with any one idea that you're unable to take profits or unable to take losses, okay? A lot of people have a thesis, they research it, they get obsessed, but the market goes the other way. They can't adapt. They can't think that they're wrong. And this is a problem, right? You have two different sides of the coin here. Randomness leads to losses. Obsession and stubbornness leads to losses, and not just losses, missed opportunities. I can't tell you how many great trades I've seen come and gone because those who have the conviction, those with the big positions, those with the big profits, they can't exit. In an ideal world, you formulate a plan, you formulate your thesis. Obviously, it would be good to be right with the thesis, but then You also recognize that a trade is not a solid trade until you exit. And you need to be able to cut that hypothesis, cut that plan, cut that trade, either for solid profits or, if the plan goes awry, for losses. But you have to be able to exit. And I've seen too many traders on both ends of the spectrum. They don't have proper planning, or they get too obsessed and they can't execute. And that's a mistake. I'll give you an example. Not to rip on anyone, but I will rip on my millionaire students because I think it's tough love. Andy is one of my newest millionaire students. Great guy. I went to Ohio, met up with him and his parents. His parents own a nail salon. Amazing people, hardworking people. Andy was working in the nail salon. He dreamt of becoming a millionaire. Through a lot of hard work and dedication, he became a millionaire. He doesn't have to work at his parents' nail salon anymore. When someone becomes one of my millionaire students, I like to take them on trips. I planned a whole trip to Dubai with Andy. With Andrew in mind, I'm asking him what he wants to do. His dream was to go to Dubai. I love Dubai. So I planned a trip. When our trip to Dubai was coming up, he was in a trade in Fannie Mae. And I believe he was up, I think, around $150,000 in the trade. One of his biggest trades ever. But he had his eye on the prize. He wanted to make $200,000 or $250,000. Dubai was coming up. He said, Tim, I'm sorry, I can't go to Dubai. I have to focus on my Fannie Mae. I was a little sad because I planned this trip to Dubai. I had all these cool activities planned. I even did, can we throw a screenshot that I did from Dubai where I was like, I pretended that Andy was with me. And I was like, hey, Andy, how's Dubai? But he wasn't there. And I had my arm out and I was kind of lonely. But I was like, okay, I respect you. You're in Fannie Mae, $150,000, props to him. He had the conviction to hold, to make the $150,000, but he didn't lock it in. During the trip to Dubai, Fannie Mae, the momentum flipped and he didn't take profits. He didn't end up making the $200,000 that he wanted. He didn't make the $150. He didn't even make $100. He didn't even make $50. I don't remember whether he made or lost $10,000, but either way, he lost all of his big gains. And he missed out on the trip to Dubai. Jack Kellogg also had a lot of conviction. I think he was up like around $350,000 unrealized. He got out when the momentum flipped, but I think he still made like $100,000 or $150,000. The problem I see is that both of them had big conviction. Jack, he's following his plan. He's trying to hold as long as he can. That's how you have these big profits. You have to have patience. So props to Jack. Andy did not take the profits, did not lock it in, missed out on the trip to Dubai. And so I call him out like half jokingly, but also half seriously. And this is just one example, okay? I've seen so many different traders, and I can joke around with Andy because he's, a new millionaire. I'm not going to call out any other specific traders, but I've seen other traders waste opportunities of $500,000, $1 million, even one trader who wasted $20 million. I'll call out another trader, actually, a crypto trader, just because I like ripping on crypto traders, because really I'm just jealous that they have so much conviction and now they're being proven right, and it pisses me off because I have so many imposters and I can't do crypto. But this one trader turned roughly $50,000 into $45 million, not just on Bitcoin, but on like these crappy coins and NFTs. And I was telling him to sell all along the way. Remember, 50,000 into 45 million, that's crazy. But even at like 7 million, I was telling him to sell. At 10 million, I was telling him to sell. At 15, 20, 25. Every time I told him to sell, it would go higher. And so he actually got more convicted in his, prophecy. And when it was at 45 million, I was like, please, you got to just take some off the table. Even just take $1 million or $2 million. And he was like, no, I can't sell any because the $1 million or $2 million that I sell now, it might be worth $5 million later. So he's thinking in terms of how much it can go up. Unfortunately, this was right before crypto and NFTs were about to have a huge crash. And the 50,000 into 45 million, it was all unrealized. And when it turned from 45 to 30 to 20 to 10, he couldn't get out because he was like, now the momentum is flipped, but he couldn't sell because he was like, if it bounces a little bit, then I'll sell. He couldn't take the loss And it wasn't a loss, it would have been a huge win, but he couldn't take like the mental loss, right? In his mind, he thinks it should be worth X. And when the market is going the other way, he can't comprehend that. He's waiting until his goals are met. And unfortunately, he pissed it all away. I think the 50,000 into 45 million went down to like 200,000. So technically he's still up, but that is a huge problem where you just waste all of that unrealized gains, all of that opportunity. Now crypto is back up, but NFTs haven't really come back. I don't think he's made back very much. I know he was just hodling. I think he moved back in with his family before he was like, riding high. I don't think he took any profits, not even like $1 million, not even 500,000. This is the gift and curse I see with hodling, where now Bitcoin hodlers, as we're filming this, Bitcoin is breaking out to new highs, hodlers are being rewarded. But again, when will they sell? This is the same problem that I see with obsessed traders. I know a lot of traders who have made much more than me, but they're in their office every day from like 4, 5, 6 a.m. until 4, 5, 6 p.m. It doesn't matter how much they make, how much they lose. It's their job, it's their existence. And for me, I think, okay, I want to make money from trading, but I also want to live. So no matter how much I make or lose, I've built a pretty good nest egg for myself over the years. So I'm always out living. I'm still trading, I'm still profitable. I probably could make more money, but I choose living over just profits on a screen. That's just me. No bad talk to anybody who's obsessed with building their nest egg and they're obsessed and maybe they're going to live later on. But I find that a lot of people who are so obsessed with the profits on the screen and these, random milestones and monetary goals, I think that they can live a lot right now while also still focused on their goals. In a perfect world, you study a lot, you have conviction, you have a well-formulated plan, you obviously succeed in this perfect hypothesis, this hypothetical hypothesis, and the stock or the asset goes up so much, and then I wish that people could step off the train and get off the ride and say, okay, I've made X amount, whether it's 500,000 or $1 million or 20 million or 40 million, and you start to realize what that money can do in the real world. Because many traders have no idea what things cost in the real world. They're living on their screen. They're living for big numbers. And, props to them. I've only made a little under $8 million in trading. I know some traders where they can make that in a day. So I'm nowhere near the biggest trader. I cut myself off. I trade with a small account. I trade for charity. Many traders are like, oh, I can't believe you gave up. For me, I actually enjoy trading with a small account. I'm very, very good at it. I'm better. And I actually really enjoy teaching and giving my trading profits to charity. I've found what works for me. But big traders, listen up. Maybe you're not going to take my word for it. I've only been doing this 25 years. I never really, made it to the $1 billion level or the 100 million or even, the $20 million level. So I purposely cut off my trading career and I've changed it up a little bit to trade small, trade for charity and teach, which many people disagree with. But I found what makes me happy while being able to live, while still being able to itch, right? Like if you say trading is an itch, it's like this bug bite that you have to itch. I still have to itch, okay? I'm still a degenerate gambler, but I've channeled my degenerate addiction into something manageable. I don't bet millions of dollars. There's no way I can lose millions of dollars. And I'm very proud to teach through my wins and my losses to pass down these rules to others. So when I see a trend, when I see a hot stock, when I see a hot pattern, I try to share it so that it's not just me profiting. I want my students to be able to profit. I want others to see. If you agree, if you disagree, at least it creates a conversation, which I think is sorely lacking in the trading world. The trading world is very much about who can make the most money. Most people lie on social media. They lie in their Discord chat rooms. They show their big wins. They ignore their big losses. I like to show all my trades, my stupid trades, my dumb trades, my good trades, everything in between. And the interesting thing about my business as a teacher is the ones where I make the dumb mistakes and the losses, when I talk about it in a video, those are my most successful videos and they actually grow my business the most. So I'm actually encouraged to make dumb mistakes, unfortunately. So maybe not the best for my business model, but I want to trade well. If I trade well, I can donate more to charity. If I don't trade well, I teach very useful lessons. Either way, I'm doing what I love while living very well. And I don't think that I can really do any better given my own limitations. Like, I'm very impatient. I never had a mentor, so I don't have really a proper foundation of learning like I should, like you guys do. If you join my challenge, you can learn a foundation of rules that I think will allow you to make more than me. But I don't want you to get into these pitfalls. Random gambling, over trading, having no life, or having so much conviction that you can't get out for profits or losses. These are two big pitfalls on two different sides of the coin, but I have to call it out. And, shout out to Andy. I'm giving him crap for his Fannie Mae trade, but he's made millions otherwise. And frankly, his conviction is how he's become a millionaire in just a few years. And he's going to learn from this. I'm never going to let him forget that Dubai trade. Again, there's many more traders that I can call out, but many of them have thin skin and they're just going to take it personally, especially many short sellers. I'm not going to get into a conversation ripping on short sellers. They're already miserable enough, although subconsciously they actually like being miserable. So they really just need therapy. They shouldn't even be trading that much. But that's another video for another day. I love you guys, short sellers. Thank you for creating great squeezes. Thank you for your sacrificing your health, your wealth for the greater good for us longs. You don't need to overtrade, and be willing to get out for profits or losses. Leave a comment below. Let me know if this makes sense. I know this is a little out there, but it's something that I see happening. And I see this happening with a lot of crypto people. Congrats on having so much conviction. Just remember to take some profits. You don't have to sell all. You can sell half. You can sell a third. You can sell 1/8. But it's a good habit to get into. When you have a huge profit, take some off the table just in case. You never know what's going to happen.